Good morning.
The mid-2000s were a difficult time for fighting game communities. The genre struggled to maintain a significant position in the eyes of the industry. As the number of local arcades slowly diminished, new fighting games were still being released on game consoles by developers worldwide. But unless they were based on an established brand, these games, while occasionally exceptional, often failed to make much waves beyond their current niche audiences. By now, Namco had become a reliable source for console fighting games, but following the lukewarm reception to Tekken 4, the developers knew they had to consider a course correction if they wanted to win back their fans with the next installment. Namco's arcade system board had been recently upgraded to Namco System 256, which had more capabilities and better overall performance. The trio of Kimoto, Harada, and Yonemori retained their directorial duties, while Akitaka Toyama and his team of composers only grew in numbers as they brought in even more people to compose and arrange new music, including Tekken veterans Sano and Okabe, forming an ensemble greater than 20 to work on the soundtrack. Tekken 5 would officially release in arcades by late 2004, just in time for the series' 10th anniversary and the following year on PlayStation 2. As expected, the game saw a noticeable boost in graphics over its predecessor, with characters featuring more detail and animations, but many of the features introduced in Tekken 4, like the switch maneuver and stages with elevated floors, had been completely removed. Characters' movement speed had become much faster and more fluid, as Tekken 5's mechanics placed a greater emphasis on the juggle system, previously seen in Tekken 3 and Tag, by being more open-ended in terms of options. The opportunity for longer combos promoted more creativity when it came to mix-ups, offering more room for experimentation to high-level players. A new mechanic known as the Crush system made certain character attacks invulnerable during its animation and uninterruptible by the opponent. Stages with infinite borders returned, while those that had walls were much less exploitable during a player's combo. The game's story begins immediately following the events of Tekken 4 when Jin Kazama manages to escape from capture. Heihachi and his son Kazuya are then bombarded by an army of jacks within their dojo, where Heihachi is believed to have died from an explosion, a theory quickly shot down when he was revealed as a playable character. 25 other returning characters filled the roster, with 6 new additions to the series. There were the usual variations to series regulars like Jack 5 and Roger Jr., consisting of both the wife and son of the original Kangaroo, but the one making his first playable appearance was Devil Jin, who had a similar playstyle to Jin Kazama with the expected supernatural additions. The game's new final boss was Jinpachi Mishima, the father of Heihachi Mishima, who comes back from the dead. The new original characters consisted of the martial artist Fang Wei, the special agent ninja Raven, and the high school student Asuka Kazama, who shares a relation and similar moveset to Jun Kazama. Tekken 5 introduced a lot of features previously seen with Sega's Virtua Fighter 4, such as the ability to customize characters with various accessories and items, which could be purchased with in-game currency. These items could then be saved using a new data card system included on the arcade cabinets, along with the player's general performance and win-loss record. On certain arcade cabinets, there were even ports available to those who preferred using a PlayStation controller instead of the machine's joysticks. When Tekken 5 was ported to PlayStation 2, the arcade version's high-quality graphics held up incredibly well, making it one of the best-looking games on the system. There was a new variation of the Tekken Force minigame called Devil Within, where players control Jin Kazama as he battles against the forces of the G Corporation. Perhaps the most significant additions were arcade-perfect ports of the first 3 Tekken games, as well as the classic Namco arcade shooter Starblade. With its impressive graphical showcase, rebalanced game mechanics, and wealth of content, Tekken 5 became an essential purchase for many PlayStation fans. The game would go on to sell over 6 million copies, making it one of the top 10 best-selling games in PlayStation 2's history. There was so much in the game done well that the few things that could be criticized about it, like the lack of an online multiplayer mode, or the fact that the minigame Devil Within was poorly designed and repetitive, could easily be overlooked. While Tekken 5 was not so much a revolution on the series' mechanics, it was still universally praised as a return to form following Tekken 4's missteps, and a proper evolution to what had worked best for the series before. Thanks to having so many options when it came to movement and combos, highly skilled players could find a wide variety of ways to play any character, which helped make Tekken 5 a great time investment among hardcore fans, and a popular staple at fighting game tournaments around the world.
Oh, Candido with the running grab takes up more than 60% life. Hell's Feet right hard with the comeback. No!
In 2005, a substantial update to Tekken 5 was announced for arcades called Dark Resurrection. In addition to balance changes and extra customization options, 3 more characters were added to the roster. Series regular Armor King made a return, and he was joined by the high school student Lily Rochefort and the Russian special operative Sergei Dragunov. The update came to arcades that same year, but when it was released outside Japan the following year, it initially came to the PlayStation Portable, where it featured the return of the Tekken Bowl minigame and would go on to sell over 2 million copies. Like its PlayStation 2 counterpart, the graphics were very impressive for the handheld, as the game maintained the original's high frame rate and short loading times, with very little detriment to the visuals. Dark Resurrection was eventually ported to the PlayStation 3 in 2006, with Jinpachi Mishima as a playable character, and, for the first time in the series, online multiplayer was available through an eventual update. Once again, Tekken was perceived as the top contender of the fighting game genre. After 10 years since its original debut in arcades, it felt as though the series was in a good place in the eyes of both critics and longtime fans. But the company and development team behind the games would soon face one of its biggest transitions in either of their histories. Following the completion of Dark Resurrection, Masahiro Kimoto, one of the longtime directors of the series since Tekken 2, would be departing from the project. In 2005, it was also announced that Namco would be entering a merger with a longtime toy maker and fellow video game developer Bandai to become one of the largest game and toy companies in the world. During these transitions, there was also news of another generation of game consoles on the horizon that would bring forth another shift within the industry. For a time, it seemed uncertain where the series could go from Tekken 5, but thanks to that game's glowing reception, many fans were ready to see how Tekken would continue to evolve following the change in leadership. Next time, in part 5 of this Tekken Retrospective, the official 6th chapter in the series makes its debut on a generation of high-definition consoles. Then the franchise has a crossover with a longtime competitor in the genre, and looks back on its history once again with another tag team tournament.
I never lose! I hope you like pain! Hey! 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 You guys are gonna like this one. You guys wanna see something? What is this? You want me to show you tough? I'll show you tough. Hey! 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 Hey!
Not everyone has what it takes to be the king of the Iron Fist tournament. Tekken 5, the best graphics, craziest combos, and most playable characters in franchise history. Rated T for teen.
ขนาดไหนวะไอ้กระจอกมึงรู้ไหมว่ากูขนาดไหนมึงอะขนาดไหนดูนี่เฮ้ยไม่เท่าไหร่ก็ดูนี่ มึงเจอกูมาเลยอ๋อทำไมไม่ไปทำงาน นี่มันกี่โมงแล้ว